the feminist perspective is not just about gender differences at a personal level. Think about it. Having women in leadership roles is a relatively new concept. I mean, our nation has yet to even have a woman president. So every time someone studies early organizations, those organizations were actually led by men. I mean, you didn't have women in leadership roles in the early 18th and 19th century, right? So these were all male, is a male-dominated field, the executive. So all the successes and the failures of those organizations were realized by men. So the best practices were actually realized by men. So what that means is it was skewed, the findings of these studies, whatever, that determined those best practices, those were skewed for simply a lack of comparison. So what it equated to is that men were the default. However, the authors point out that women tend to have different management styles. It's not better, it's not worse, it's different, okay? Look at the recent pandemic performance, these nations led by women. What are the outcomes? Okay, and that's going to be part of our exercise. Well, think about this. Let me leave you this one last tidbit. Given the sheer number of women serving in public agencies, these things are important, right? So the exercise is to find examples of local, state, national, regional governments, whatever, led by women. And then what I want you to do is compare and contrast those caliber agencies led by women versus comparable agencies led by men. And now I'm going to leave it to you to decide the criteria by which you report. Okay, you can look at the pandemic response, like I said, military intervention, how often or how severe, the foreign diplomacy, how well do foreign affairs, how do women negotiate versus men, equity, immigration, whatever the major topics are. What I want you to do is I want you to come back with some findings and introduce us, enlighten us on the feminist perspective.